Introduction. Today, many factors are prompting employers to recognize the importance of incorporating people with disabilities into their talent management strategies. While many employers understand the value of an inclusive workplace culture, they may not know how to effectively recruit and retain people with disabilities. Disability and workforce development service providers can be key allies in this regard. In addition to training people for specific workforce needs, they can assist in identifying and directly connecting employers with qualified job seekers with disabilities. Disability and workforce development service providers can also provide ongoing supports to ensure the success of people with disabilities on the job. Demonstrating the benefits of partnering with service providers to employers is not always easy. The key is broadening the definition of who is being served and respecting and responding to the business's needs in tandem with those of job seekers with disabilities. In other words, service providers must understand that they have two customers, people with disabilities and employers. As with any relationship, the foundation for success is trust, and the key to trust is effective communication. A dual customer approach necessitates talking with, and most importantly, listening to businesses about their expectations and what talent they need. Businesses have no obligation to understand the supported employment system or any other disability service structures. As a result, successful partnerships require service providers to speak to business interests. A positive cost-benefit ratio is what drives the hiring process, so explaining how service providers can save employers time and money is far more persuasive than describing the supported employment process. Business versus employer. Businesses do not typically define themselves primarily as an employer. They produce products or services that are sold in the marketplace. That purpose, and not providing employment, is their reason for being. Businesses are interested in the bottom line. What will be the return on their investment in hiring the person being supported and working with you as an employment services provider? By singularly focusing on employment, service providers may limit opportunities to engage with businesses and overlook strategic opportunities to support them in other areas, such as staff training, workplace accessibility, and attracting people with disabilities as customers. Business development versus job placement. Historically, service providers, especially workforce development service providers, have focused on the goal of job placement, that is, the development of a single job or employment opportunity. In contrast, business development focuses on creating and sustaining long-term relationships with businesses to produce multiple outcomes. Job placements are not the only outcomes possible. Moving toward a business development perspective creates sustainable success for both people with disabilities and employers. Think about the organization as a whole and gain an understanding of its current and future talent needs to support education or training that builds a pipeline of qualified people with disabilities. Qualified versus job ready. Employment ready or job ready are terms often used in service provision to describe customers who are prepared to begin job searching and obtain employment. But businesses do not typically use or understand these terms. From their perspective, a person is simply qualified or not qualified, and the business determines what knowledge, skills, and abilities, or KSAs, are required to perform the essential functions of each job. It is extremely important that providers become familiar with these functions and what KSAs make a person qualified in the eyes of a particular business. Productivity enhancement versus accommodation. Another important distinction relates to the term accommodation. Some employers may mistakenly think that it costs more to hire a person with a disability because they might require an accommodation. In practice, however, most accommodations cost nothing at all and can sometimes help all employees with making things more efficient within the business. According to some employers, the root of their concern is the word accommodation itself, because it can connote a legal context and does not speak to what accommodations actually do, which is increase productivity. Thus, speaking in these terms, for example, productivity enhancements or productivity tools, when referring to accommodations, may assist in allaying fears. Other business terms. Continue clicking Next to navigate through this section. Diversity and Inclusion, or D&I. Diversity is any dimension that can be used to differentiate groups and people from one another, but it also implies respect for and appreciation of differences in ethnicity, gender, age, national origin, disability, sexual orientation, education, and religion. An inclusive workplace values and provides equal opportunity to all employees, regardless of differences, to achieve their maximum potential at work without discrimination. Some larger companies have D&I offices or departments, typically within their larger human resource functions, that work to recruit and retain diverse people and foster an inclusive workplace culture. Employee Resource Group, or ERG, or Business Resource Group, or BRG. ERGs and BRGs, also known as affinity groups, are groups of employees who join together in their workplace based on shared characteristics, life experiences, or interests. They are voluntary and typically employee-led, though many have senior executive sponsors. These groups serve as a resource for members, other employees, and the organization by fostering a diverse, inclusive workplace aligned with the organizational mission, values, goals, business practices, and objectives. Return on investment, or ROI. ROI is usually expressed as a percentage and is typically used for making financial decisions, either comparing a company's profitability to its investments or comparing the efficiency of different investments. The ROI formula is ROI equals net profit divided by cost of investment times 100. In this context, service providers might be expected to demonstrate that hiring people with disabilities provides a positive ROI to the company. Talent. As used by businesses, talent means persons of marked aptitude or specific training for a certain field or occupation. For a business, attracting and retaining talent is key to ROI. Disclosure. Is the person being supported okay with disclosing that they have a disability to their employer? If the person does not wish to disclose, all care must be taken by the supporting staff when handing out materials to the employer. Business cards and other documents may inadvertently disclose that someone has a disability, such as a business card that references disability organizations in the title. Understanding the business customer's needs. In addition to using business-oriented language, employers have identified a set of key principles for doing business with business that can guide employment service providers in creating a track record of success in building strong relationships with employers and positioning themselves as a valuable partner in the business services arena. These principles include taking steps to understand their needs, understanding that businesses make decisions based on business needs, not rehabilitation needs, and adjusting the products and services delivered to meet those business needs. Additional keys to success in fostering good communication with business customers include establishing one point of contact at the company, whether in the human resources or the diversity and inclusion or D&I function at a large company, or owner or manager at a smaller one. Meeting in person at the start of the relationship, but keeping meetings short and maintaining ongoing communication in whatever way the employer representative prefers. Asking what the business seeks from the relationship, as opposed to focusing on the service provider's goals. Anticipating questions ahead of time and providing examples to address concerns. And avoiding acronyms and jargon related to service provision. Conversely, it is important that service providers develop fluency in commonly used terms related to employment in a particular business's industry. Adjusting services to meet business needs. Service providers can often assist companies in becoming disability inclusive on a deeper level by adjusting the services provided and/or presenting core services in ways that employers can recognize an immediate benefit. Services that offer obvious employer benefits and are most likely within the capability or realm of most service providers include delivering disability awareness training, consulting on accommodations, developing stay-at-work or return-to-work plans for employees with disabilities, including those who experience injury or illness, providing job coaching or other on-site support services, advising on workplace accessibility, both physical and computer-based, supporting compliance with disability non-discrimination laws, and for certain employers, affirmative action laws, advising federal contractors on how to conduct a campaign to encourage self-identification to achieve their disability inclusion goals, assisting with applying for disability employment and accessibility-related tax incentives and wage subsidies, consulting on marketing to people with disabilities and ensuring the accessibility of company products or services, helping establish a disability-related ERG or affinity group, and assisting in implementing mentoring or job shadowing programs for youth with disabilities. Through all of this, it is critical to ensure people with disabilities meet the requirements of available job openings that businesses need to fill. It is essential that service providers recognize that different businesses and their representatives have different styles and backgrounds that affect their interactions with service providers and their behavior when it comes to hiring decisions. This can be due to several factors beyond those that are business related, such as varying levels of experience with and exposure to people with disabilities. When an employer's first reaction to the idea of working together is negative, for whatever reason, do not argue. Be patient and meet them where they are. Asking open-ended, non-judgmental questions can help service providers understand the employer's frame of reference, experience, and exposure to people with disabilities both in general and in their workforce. Be in listen mode. This will help forge a relationship and begin to build trust from the ground up. Once a provider understands where a business is in terms of inclusionary hiring and their workforce needs, service providers are in a good position to nurture a long-lasting relationship. These relationships may be formal, for instance, through signed agreements outlining expectations from both parties, or informal, for instance, through meetings, exchanged contact information and data on staffing needs, and ongoing contact regarding job openings and candidates. Regardless of what shape they may take, service providers' relationships with businesses of any size illustrate that the investment can be well worth the effort for both parties and can ultimately help the business develop the workforce of tomorrow. Success stories. Continue clicking next to navigate through this section. Reaping the benefits of collaboration in agriculture. To meet the staffing needs of its farmland investments, financial services firm TIAA forged a partnership with the Association of People Supporting Employment First, or APSE, to encourage and facilitate the recruitment and hiring of people with disabilities to work on custom farmed properties. Through the collaboration, called the Fruits of Employment Initiative, APSE helps farm managers engage with local disability service providers to source, hire, prepare, and support people with disabilities to perform a variety of job duties. Since its inception in 2009 at one of TIAA's Apple properties in Washington state, the program has expanded to 6 locations. Today, it provides competitive integrated employment to more than 30 full-time workers with a range of disabilities in an environment where there have traditionally been limited work opportunities available, all while helping meet a regional industry's unique workforce needs. A wise bet in Connecticut. Mohegan Sun, a Native American-owned casino in Uncasville, Connecticut, has found a partnership with a local disability service provider to be an effective way to fill its diverse staffing needs. Working together, the casino and Community Enterprises Incorporated, a regional nonprofit community rehabilitation program that provides supported employment, education, and living services to people with disabilities, developed the Mohegan Sun Inclusion Academy to train job seekers for specific in-demand jobs ranging from cashiers to cooks to valet dispatchers. Community Enterprises screens the applicants, many of whom are referred from the state's Bureau of Rehabilitation Services, and conducts 3 or 4 weeks of training in a classroom setting provided by the casino. Successful trainees then receive on-the-job support from a job coach for 6 weeks to ensure a smooth transition. More than 100 employees have come on board through the program. Brewing success in Nevada and Pennsylvania. Through a partnership with Nevada VR, Starbucks Coffee Company launched the Starbucks Inclusion Academy, an on-the-job training program for people with cognitive and physical disabilities with interests in food service at its Carson Valley roasting plant. The 6-week program includes 4 weeks of customized classroom instruction and a 2-week internship, as well as disability etiquette training for store team members, trainers, and partners. In 1 year, Nevada VR supported 5 classes with a total of 28 students, 23 graduates, and 21 hires, 14 at Starbucks and 7 at other establishments. Based on this success, the model was replicated at the York, Pennsylvania roasting plant and in Baltimore, Maryland, with plans to expand to more locations in partnership with VR and other service providers. Meeting manufacturing demand in Michigan. In 2015, Hayworth Incorporated, a furniture manufacturer headquartered in Holland, Michigan, had a significant increase in orders. However, it faced stiff competition in hiring skilled workers when attempting to build a team to meet this demand. We experienced a technical talent drought, said Cassandra Volkers, the company's recruitment manager. To tackle that challenge, Hayworth tapped the State VR Program's Technical Training Center, Michigan Career and Training Institute, or MCTI, located in nearby Plainwell. MCTI prepares young people with disabilities for a host of jobs. The 2 organizations formed a close collaborative team based on aligned values and objectives, resulting in the filling of 11 machine operator positions to date. All of our MCTI trainees are well prepared, said plant manager Eric Eldridge.